play some damn chess.
A dark shape that turned its head when they passed. The Allen children said the car hummed when you stood near it, like it was breathing. The family eventually parked it permanently and left it covered in the driveway.
Ooh, I touched her.
Didn't stop it.
Hated.
Over the next decade, a series of local teens who tried to vandalize or steal parts of the car met strange fates. One died after being struck by a truck just days later. Another crashed his dirt bike into a telephone pole. A third was hit by lightning while fishing. By the 1970s, Old Orchard Beach had a new legend, the car that kills, and its name was the Golden Eagle. While the Golden Eagle haunted small-town Maine,
Come on, you slut,
cursed
that
cars
slut.
were nothing new. In fact, they've been around for decades.
Come on, you
Machines
slut.
that seem to carry the weight of death. James Dean's Porsche 550 Spider, nicknamed Little Bastard, killed him in 1955 during a high-speed crash. But the curse didn't stop there. Every person who handled the wreck, from mechanics to collectors,
Come on, you
suffered
slut.
terrible accidents. A truck driver transporting the remains was crushed when it rolled off its trailer. Two separate buyers of salvaged parts later died in crashes. And then there was Archduke Franz Ferdinand's car, the one he was assassinated in. An open-top, Graf and stiff Phaeton. Every owner afterward died violently. It crashed, burned, and even rolled off a cliff, killing a family of four. These machines, Dean's Porsche, the Archduke's Phaeton, and Maine's Golden Eagle shared a terrifying pattern. They weren't just vehicles, they were echoes. They seemed to remember tragedy, and that same idea that evil could live in metal became the heart of Christine. When Stephen King began writing Christine in 1981, he was struggling. He was addicted to cocaine and alcohol, and many nights he'd black out mid-sentence. Later, he admitted that Christine was an unintentional reflection of his addiction. A story about a man who falls in love with something that ultimately destroys him. Arnie Cunningham, the teenager in the novel, isn't just possessed by his car. He's consumed by it. Christine becomes his escape, his addiction, his pride, and his undoing. It's a love story, King once said, between a boy and his car and a car that loves him back. That's what made Christine so different. It wasn't just about horror. It was about obsession, the kind that makes people ignore danger until it's too late. And though King said the story came to him in a dream, many believe the Golden Eagle was sitting quietly in the back of his mind.
God
When
fucking
Christine
damn it.
went into production in 1982,
Holy Ghost.
director John Carpenter wanted authenticity. He sourced 23 real 1958 Plymouth Furies, restoring each one to perfect condition with deep red paint, white roof, chrome trim. From day one, the set felt wrong. During one setup, a car parked on level ground rolled forward on its own, smashing through lighting equipment. A stunt driver lost control of the car during a chase sequence when the steering column locked nearly identical to Arnie's death scene. One car, parked for the night, was found the next morning miles away, parked and locked, with no
Now
sign
fuck
of
up
forced
and give me
entry.
a check.
And midway through
Try to dick
production,
up your whore.
a storage garage caught fire. The only cars burned
Now
were
fuck
the
up and
Christines.
overlook this.
Crew members
God
laughed it
damn
off
it.
until they didn't. By the end of filming, several prop vehicles had mysteriously vanished. One was gone for 20 years, only to reappear in a Nevada junkyard, perfectly intact. Even after the movie wrapped, strange events followed. A truck hauling promotional cars to a theater in Kansas burst into flames under a clear sky.
Bitch.
Investigators never found a cause. Carpenter later said in an interview, "We joked that Christine was a diva, but sometimes it didn't feel like a joke."
God damn
While the
it.
movie thrived in Hollywood, the real cursed car in Maine refused to fade. In In the 1990s, the Golden Eagle passed into the hands of Wendy Allen, a local artist fascinated by the legend. She said the car, a local 1990s, the Golden Eagle passed into the hands of Wendy Allen, a local artist fascinated by the legend. She said the car was impossible to start except when she touched it. When she did, the engine purred. Over the years.
Now fuck up and
she
take that
documented
pose.
a string of tragedies linked to the car. A neighbour's dog was found mutilated near the garage. Her cousin was crushed to death while working beneath it. People who locked the car online reported accidents, illnesses and deaths. When asked if she believed the car was evil, Wendy shook her head. It's not evil. It's misunderstood. People die because they challenge it. In 2010, a group of local church members broke into the property, calling the car Satan's work.
It is Satan's
Smashed its windows, poured holy water over the seats, and took axes to the frame. Then they hauled the remains to a junkyard. But months later, Wendy revealed the truth. The car they destroyed wasn't the real Golden Eagle. She'd hidden the true parts, the chassis, the engine, the heart, and rebuilt it. You can't kill it, she said. Why did we believe in cursed cars? Maybe because deep down, we know machines inherit our emotions. We yell at them, we name them, we love them. We pour our energy into them, and maybe, sometimes, they give it back. Stephen King once said that cars are the closest thing America has to a personal demon. They're fast, beautiful, and deadly. And when you combine obsession, speed, and pride, you get pristine. To King, the car symbolized addiction, the thing that makes you feel powerful while slowly destroying you. The more you feed it, the more it takes. Arnie's slow transformation from timid boy to violent killer mirrors what King himself was going through, a man possessed by something he thought he controlled. Maybe Christine wasn't just a story. Maybe it was a confession. In 2016, a viral dashcam video surfaced showing a ghost car vanishing during a police pursuit. Comment sections filled showing a ghost. In 2016, a viral dashcam video was a confession. In 2016, a viral dashcam video surfaced showing a ghost car vanishing during a police pursuit. Comment sections filled with one word, Christine. Of the 23 movie cars, only 2 still exist. One sits in California, pristine. The other is privately owned, and its alarm goes off every night at exactly 3 a.m. If you've made it this far, you don't just like scary stories. You live for the truth behind them. So make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next report. Because next time, the case we uncover might not be from the past. It might still be happening.
It's been over 4 decades since Christine turned a shiny red Plymouth Fury into one of horror's most terrifying villains. But what happened to the cast is even darker than the movie itself. From sudden deaths to shocking scandals, their lives over 42 years are filled with twists you won't believe. Let's find out. Harry Dean Stanton as Detective Rudy Junkins. Remember that tired detective in Christine, 1983? Who kept circling back to Arnie's strange car? That was Harry Dean Stanton as Rudy Junkins. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't over the top. He was calm, suspicious, and weary. You could almost feel that this man had seen too much already, and that's what made the role so believable. But Harry's real battles were off-screen. Hollywood didn't know what to do with him. He wasn't handsome in the traditional way, so he was cast again and again as the drifter, the loner, the broken man in the background. Even when he appeared in The Godfather Part 2 and Alien, two of the biggest films of all time, his name barely registered with the mainstream audience. The truth is, Harry carried scars long before he ever stepped onto a set. He fought as a Marine in World War II and watched friends die around him. That trauma followed him home. He drank too much, smoked constantly, and battled years of depression. And yet, those same wounds gave him the ability to pour raw pain into his performances. His one shining moment came in Paris, Texas, 1984, where finally, he was the leading man. Critics called it one of the most haunting performances in cinema. For a brief time, Stanton was celebrated the way he always deserved. But even after that, Hollywood still treated him as a character actor, never the star. It was a bittersweet victory. Harry Dean Stanton played Detective Rudy Junkins in Christine, 1983, when he was 57 years old. He passed away in 2017 at the age of 91 from heart-related illness. If he were alive today, he would be 99 years old. At the time of his death, his estimated net worth was around $5 million. Christine Belford as Regina Cunningham. In Christine, 1983, Christine Belford played Regina Cunningham, the sharp, controlling mother who tried to keep Arnie from slipping away. Her presence was cold, but commanding, and she captured that delicate balance of a parent's fear wrapped in overbearing control. Belford's performance gave the film a dose of realism, grounding the supernatural horror in the very human struggle between parents and children. Behind the scenes, though, Belford's own life carried plenty of drama. In the 1980s, she went through a bitter divorce from her first husband. The custody battles that followed were devastating, pushing her into a spiral of depression that forced her to step away from acting for a time. Fame didn't protect her. It made the struggles even more public. Her career had highs, like appearances in The Rockford Files and Bonacek, but those successes were shadowed by her personal pain. Stress led to heavy smoking, and later in life she developed chronic respiratory issues. For a woman who often played strong, unshakable mothers, her own battles left her far more fragile than audiences ever knew. And yet, Belford found resilience. She turned her pain into purpose, supporting charities that helped divorced women rebuild their lives. She worked less on screen after the 2000s, but in her own quiet way, she continued to fight for dignity and strength, not just in her characters, but in herself. Christine Belford played Regina Cunningham in Christine, 1983, when she was 34 years old. Today, in 2025, she is 76 years old, mostly retired, with an estimated net worth of around $2 million. Robert's Blossom as George LeBay. Do you remember the old man who warned Arnie about Christine's cursed past? That was Robert Blossom as George LeBay. With his worn-out voice and haunted stare, he gave the film a sense of chilling inevitability. He looked like someone who had already made peace with tragedy. And maybe that's because Blossom knew too much of it in his own life. Blossom's childhood was harsh. He grew up in poverty, often drifting between stage work and survival. His first wife was killed in a car accident in 1950, a trauma that left him shaken for life. To step into Christine years later, playing a man linked to a killer car, was more than acting. It was almost like reliving a nightmare that had scarred him decades earlier. He built his career slowly, becoming a familiar face in memorable supporting roles. You've seen him in Escape from Alcatraz, 1979, Home Alone, 1990, as the mysterious old man Marley, and Doc Hollywood, 1991. But for all his successes, Blossom never escaped a sense of isolation. He lived simply, almost reclusively, on a small farm in California, avoiding Hollywood's spotlight. Illness caught up with him later in life. Parkinson's disease and heart failure weakened him until his passing in 2011 at the age of 87. His was not a glamorous ending, but rather a quiet and painful one, far from the fame of Hollywood premieres. Roberts Blossom played George LeBay in Christine, 1983, when he was 60 years old. He died in 2011 at age 87, leaving behind an estimated net worth of about $1.5 million and a legacy of strange, unforgettable characters that mirrored his own lonely but extraordinary journey. Robert Prosky as Will Darnell. In Christine, 1983, Robert Prosky played Will Darnell, the gruff garage owner who gave Arnie a place to work, and a dangerous freedom to spiral deeper into the car's dark grip. With his booming voice and rough edges, Prosky brought a sense of gritty reality to the film, reminding us that horror doesn't just live in the supernatural, but in the human world of greed and control. But Prosky's real story began far from Hollywood lights. Born in 1930 to a Polish immigrant coal miner, he grew up in hardship. In 1950, he narrowly survived a mine explosion that killed several men. That brush with death left him with a lifelong fear of enclosed spaces, an ironic burden for a man who would spend his life performing in theaters and film sets. His career took off in his 50s, an unusually late start, but he made it count. Prosky stole scenes in The Natural, 1984, and became a fan favorite in L.A. Law. Yet even as success arrived, his personal life carried heartbreak. In 2000, he lost a son to cancer, a tragedy that weighed heavily on him and colored his later performances with even more depth and sadness. The cruelest twist came at the very end. In 2008, while rehearsing for a play, Prosky suddenly collapsed from heart failure and died at age 77. For a man who lived and breathed the stage, his death felt like a final, tragic performance. Robert Prosky played Will Darnell in Christine, 1983, when he was 53 years old. He passed away in 2008 at the age of 77 with an estimated net worth of around $3 million. Stephen Tash as Rich. He didn't have much screen time in Christine, 1983, but Stephen Tash made an impression as Rich, one of the bullies circling Arnie. With his sneering energy and cruel bravado, Tash fit perfectly into the gang that pushed Arnie further into Christine's deadly embrace. Off-screen, though, Tash's life was anything but easy. In the 1980s, at the very time his career he fell deep into cocaine addiction. The habit drained his finances, wrecked his marriage, and cost him custody of his child. By 1985, his life was spiraling out of control. Things only got worse in 1987 when a car accident left him with multiple broken bones and a chronic back injury. He was forced into rehab, but even after recovery, the pain followed him. Combined with heavy smoking that damaged his lungs, Tash's health became a constant uphill battle. Career opportunities slipped away. By the 1990s, he quietly retired from acting, remembered mostly for Christine and horror cult films like Waxwork, 1988. Yet, in an ironic twist, he turned his darkest struggle into a source of strength, working as an addiction counselor to help others fight the same demons he once faced. Stephen Tash played Rich in Christine, 1983, when he was 35 years old. Today, in 2025, he is 77 years old, retired and living quietly in Los Angeles. 2020.
That's the smelly Shelley. That's a true smelly Shelley.
He is 77 years old, retired and living quietly in Los Angeles with an estimated net worth of about $1 million. David Spielberg as Mr. Casey. You probably don't remember him as much as Arnie or Christine, but David Spielberg brought a quiet strength to Christine, 1983, as Mr. Casey, one of the teachers who stood as a voice of reason in Arnie's chaotic world. His presence wasn't loud, but it mattered. He was the kind of actor who could give even a small role depth and dignity. Yet Spielberg's real life was anything but calm. In the 1970s, while working on a documentary, he survived a terrifying small plane crash that left him with head injuries and migraines that plagued him for decades. Imagine trying to remember lines on set while battling blinding pain. That was his reality. His career stretched across familiar shows like Law and Order and The Brady Bunch, but stability came at a cost. Spielberg worked relentlessly, often to the point stability set while battling blinding pain. That was his reality. His career stretched across familiar shows like Law and Order and The Brady Bunch, but stability came at a cost. Spielberg worked relentlessly, often to the point of exhaustion. The overwork strained his marriages, and he went through 2 divorces, both of them bitter, both of them tied to the pressures of Hollywood. The final blow came later in life. Diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer in 2013, Spielberg endured years of grueling chemotherapy. Even as his body gave out, he kept acting, refusing to let illness silence him. In 2016, just after finishing his last role, he passed away at 77, leaving his family with grief that came far too suddenly. David Spielberg played Mr. Casey in Christine, 1983, when he was 44 years old. He died in 2016 at the age of 77, with an estimated net worth of about $2 million. Kelly Preston as Roseanne. She was only on screen briefly in Christine, 1983, but Kelly Preston lit it up with her youthful charm as Roseanne. At just 21, she radiated the kind of energy that made you believe she'd go on to become a star. And she did, with roles that carried her all the way to Hollywood's A-list. But Preston's road was scarred with tragedy. In 1986, during the filming of 52 Pickup, she was accidentally shot in the head in what was meant to be a prank. She survived, but the injury required brain surgery and left her with a permanent scar. For years, she downplayed it in interviews, but behind closed doors, the trauma was hard to shake. Her Hollywood life looked glamorous. Hits like Jerry Maguire and From Dusk Till Dawn made her household name. But personal struggles often followed. She smoked heavily in her youth, something doctors later suggested may have increased her cancer risks. Her first marriage, to actor Kevin Gage, ended in a messy divorce amid allegations of abuse, leaving her shaken and distrustful. The cruelest twist came in 2018, when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Preston chose to keep it private, hiding her illness even from much of Hollywood. For 2 years, she endured treatments in silence, protecting her husband John Travolta and their children from the painful truth. When she passed away in 2020 at the age of 57, the news shocked the world. Kelly Preston played Roseanne in Christine, 1983, when she was 21 years old. She died in 2020 at the age of 57, leaving behind an estimated net worth of $20 million and a legacy of warmth, resilience, and heartbreaking silence. William Ostrander as Buddy Repperton. Every horror movie needs a bully, and in Christine, 1983, that bully was Buddy Repperton. With his swagger, wild hair, and constant sneer, William Ostrander nailed the role of the classic high school tormentor. He was cruel, reckless, and dangerous, and audiences loved to hate him. But real life came crashing down hard. Just 2 years after Christine, Ostrander was in a devastating car accident in 1985. He broke his leg, forcing him to pause his acting career. The physical pain turned into something darker, depression, and a brief spiral into alcohol abuse. For a man who just landed his breakout role, it was a crushing setback. The troubles didn't stop there. His reckless driving habits got him into legal trouble more than once, and in 1992, a messy divorce left him drained emotionally and financially. Hollywood moved on without him, and by the mid-1990s, Ostrander walked away from acting altogether. But he didn't disappear. Instead, he reinvented himself. Moving to Napa Valley, he built a second career in the wine business, proving he could rise again after loss. Fans may still remember him as Buddy Repperton, but his real victory was creating a stable, successful life far from the chaos of Hollywood. William Ostrander played Buddy Repperton in Christine, 1983, when he was 24 years old. Today, in 2025, he is 66 years old, living quietly in California, with an estimated net worth of around $4 million. Stuart Charno as Don Vandenberg. In Christine, 1983, Stuart Charno played Don Vandenberg, another member of Buddy's bullying crew. With his lanky frame and mischievous grin, Charno brought a sly menace to the group that terrorized Arnie. He wasn't the leader, but he was unforgettable in his own right. Charno's career, though, was far more complicated than it looked. After making a splash in the horror genre with Friday the 13th Part 2 and later Iron Eagle, he seemed destined for steady work. But in 1990, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a battle that sent him in and out of psychiatric hospitals. The stigma around mental illness in Hollywood made it even harder to find roles. The 1980s also brought darker habits. Charno admitted to using stimulants to cope with the pressures of the industry, a dangerous cycle that only worsened his mental health. Then, in 2000, tragedy struck. His brother died of a drug overdose. The loss pushed him into a deep depression that nearly ended his career entirely. And yet, Charno turned his suffering into advocacy. He began speaking openly about mental health, using his story to reach others who felt alone in their struggles. Though he mostly works in small roles today, his courage off-screen has given him a different kind of legacy. Stuart Charno played Don Vandenberg in Christine, 1983, when he was 27 years old. Today, in 2025, he is 69 years old, still active in film and mental health advocacy, with an estimated net worth of about $1.5 million. John Stockwell as Dennis Gilder. In Christine, 1983. John Stockwell played Dennis Gilder,
She's cute.
the loyal best friend who tried desperately to
this
save
girl.
Arnie from his deadly obsession. He was the voice of reason, the athletic kid who seemed to have it all together, and yet powerless to stop his friend's tragic downfall. Stockwell's performance gave the film its heart, showing us that horror isn't just about monsters. It's about watching someone you love slip away. But Stockwell's real life was far from perfect. Just months after Christine was released, he was arrested for drug possession. What looked like a rising career almost collapsed overnight. He admitted later that the partying, the drugs, and the late-night chaos nearly destroyed him before he even had a chance to succeed. Though he pulled himself together, scars remained. The pressures of Hollywood followed him through the 1990s. By 2000, his marriage fell apart in a storm of rumors about infidelity. For a man who had played the good guy on screen, the personal failures behind the curtain were crushing. Yet Stockwell reinvented himself. Moving behind the camera, he found new success as a director with hits like Blue Crush, 2002, and Into the Blue, 2005. For the first time, he controlled the story instead of being controlled by it.
I'm getting into
He later admitted that Christine had saved him in its own way. Without that role, he might have never found the second act of his career. John Stockwell played Dennis Gilder in Christine, 1983, when he was 22 years old. Today, in 2025, he is 64 years old, working as a director and producer, with an estimated net worth of around $10 million. Keith Gordon as Arnie Cunningham. Arnie Cunningham is the heart of Christine, 1983. The awkward, bullied teenager who transforms into someone dark, confident, and ultimately doomed. Keith Gordon delivered that transformation with chilling precision, turning Arnie into one of Stephen King's most unforgettable on-screen characters. Watching his slow descent was painful, but also mesmerizing. For Gordon himself, life wasn't without tragedy. In 1995, he was struck in a severe bicycle accident that fractured his neck and forced him into spinal surgery. Recovery was long and painful, and for a time, he wasn't sure he'd ever return to filmmaking. The physical scars lingered, but so did the fear. Even after he healed, Gordon struggled with burnout. By 2010, years of overwork caught up with him, and he stepped away for his health. Hollywood is merciless, and for someone as driven as Gordon, admitting exhaustion felt like failure. But it also gave him the chance to reset and rediscover why he loved storytelling. Despite the setbacks, Gordon's directing career flourished. He made acclaimed films and went on to direct television episodes of Dexter and Homeland, even earning an Emmy for his work. The shy kid who once played Arnie became a respected voice behind the camera, proof that pain doesn't have to define the end of your story. Keith Gordon played Arnie Cunningham in Christine, 1983, when he was 22 years old. Today, in 2025, he is 64 years old, living in Los Angeles with an estimated net worth of around $3 million. Alexandra Paul as Lee Cabot. Think back to Christine, 1983. Arnie's life was spinning out of control, but there was one person who tried to pull him back, Lee Cabot. Alexandra Paul, just 20 at the time, played her with quiet strength, smart, compassionate, and unwilling to be another victim of Christine's jealous rage. She wasn't just the girlfriend. She was the anchor, the only light in Arnie's darkening world. But Alexandra's own journey was marked by heartbreak. In 1995, she suffered a miscarriage, a loss that pushed her into depression.
With the spit girl. Man, she's got some spit arms. With spit smell. With spit smell. God damn it. God fucking damn it. God damn it. With spit, spit. With spit, smelly, shelly, cushy rhymes. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Slut. Suck my slut. Dumbass. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Mutt! Suck my dick, bitch. With the spit, girl. Man, she's got some long spit arms with spit smell. I hope mine are longer than hers. With spit smell. Nope, I didn't get the en passant the fuck out of him there. Mutt! I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. Stupid! Because I was stupid. Stupid. The stupid machine. Dumbass. With the spit, girl.
Private tragedy, hidden beneath the smile of a rising star. For years, she carried that pain quietly, even as she kept working. Like many young actresses, she also faced brutal pressure to look perfect. Paul admitted to extreme dieting in her early career, slipping into dangerous eating disorders. What the audience saw on screen as radiant beauty often came at the cost of her health and peace of mind. Then, in 2005, a surfing accident nearly drowned her. For a moment, her life hung by a thread, but instead of breaking her spirit, it fueled her activism. She threw herself into causes, fighting climate change, championing women's rights, even getting arrested in 2018 during a protest. She refused to stay silent, no matter the risk. Alexandra Paul played Lee Cabot in Christine, 1983, when she was 20 years old. Today, in 2025, she is 62 years old, living in Malibu with her husband, still acting while leading environmental campaigns, with an estimated net worth of about $4 million. Leading environmental campaigns with an estimated net worth of about $4 million. Mark Popple as Tino. Tino may not have been the leader of the bullies in Christine, 1983, but Mark Popple made him stand out with a mix of nervous energy and cruelty. At 25 years old, he gave the gang of tormentors extra bite, making Arnie's descent into darkness all the more believable.
Stupid!
Quickly turned into its own horror story. In 1985, just 2 years after the film, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. The illness worsened under Hollywood pressure, and in 1987 he attempted suicide by jumping from a hotel window. He survived but suffered broken bones and minor brain trauma, a turning point that forced him into long-term psychiatric treatment. Cocaine and amphetamines only fueled the spiral. His substance abuse alienated friends and colleagues, and he lost major opportunities, including a role in Top Gun that slipped away because producers couldn't trust him. Each setback dug the hole deeper, and by the early 1990s, depression gripped him again after his father died of cancer. But somehow, Popple found a path forward. Through art therapy and writing, he regained stability. In 2015, he published a memoir, Shadows on the Set, confronting his demons publicly for the first time. These days, he channels his experience into teaching acting at community colleges, passing on lessons born from both talent and tragedy. Mark Popple played Chino in Christine, 1983, when he was 25 years old. Today, in 2025, he is 67 years old, living quietly in Santa Cruz with an estimated net worth of about $1.2 million. Douglas Warhit as Randy.
God damn it.
You might remember Randy from Christine, 1983, one of the unlucky victims who crossed paths with Arnie's car and paid the ultimate price. Douglas Warhit, just 28 at the time, gave Randy a nervous, edgy presence that made his demise all the more memorable. It was one of those small but impactful performances that horror fans never forget. Warhit's real life, however, was far more tragic than any role he played. In 1979, years before Christine, he survived a small plane crash on his way to a TV shoot. The accident left him with spinal injuries and a long-term dependence on painkillers. By the early 1980s, opioid addiction nearly consumed him, and only a mandatory rehab program in 1984 pulled him back, ironically right before he joined Christine. The pain didn't stop there. In 1995, his younger sister died suddenly from food poisoning, a freak tragedy that devastated him. Depression followed, and by 1998, his marriage collapsed after a public cheating scandal splashed across tabloids.
Come on, you slut!
For someone who never had Hollywood fame to protect him, the exposure cut especially deep. Legal troubles added more weight. In 2000, Warhit was sued in a contract dispute with a production company, which forced him into temporary bankruptcy. Just as he was trying to rebuild, lung cancer struck in 2003. 3 years of grueling chemotherapy and radiation drained his body but not his spirit. He still managed to finish a final stage play before the disease claimed him. Douglas Warhit played Randy in Christine, 1983, when he was 28 years old. He passed away in 2006 at the age of 51 from lung cancer complications, leaving behind an estimated net worth of about $800,000. His death was quiet, almost hidden. But to those who knew him, the loss was enormous. Just like Randy and Christine, Warhit's life was cut short far too soon. 42 years later, the cast of Christine, Warhit's life was cut short far too soon. 42 years later, the cast of Christine has faced twists as chilling as the movie itself. Do you believe their fate was coincidence or something darker? Join the conversation in the comments and subscribe for more stories you won't want to miss.
I'm gonna be a poor sport bitch, so neither one of us can win.
I look weird, but otherwise you know normal. Everything will be cool.
She's cute.
Thanks a lot.
Let me touch her head.
See you next week.
For years, the world thought it knew the story of Rocky Dennis, the boy whose rare condition and courage inspired millions, and even a Hollywood movie. But before her death, his mother Rusty revealed a side of their story that few had ever heard. One that reshaped how people understood Rocky's life and legacy. The silence before the truth. For years, the story of Rocky Dennis was told like a fairy tale. He was the boy who faced a rare bone disease, but never stopped smiling. He became the symbol of courage, the kid who beat the odds, and his life was turned into the Hollywood movie mask. Naturally, it was the perfect story. People loved it because it gave them hope. But what if the story you think you know was only half the truth? The world held on to the happy version because it was easier to believe in. It was cleaner, simpler, and uplifting. TV specials painted Rocky as a miracle child. Magazine stories praised his mother, Rusty, as a fearless woman who gave everything to her son. And when Mask hit theaters in 1985...
With the spit girl.
North Carolina looks ordinary.
Wow,
Rivers
look at
twisting
that
under
spit
bridges. Forests thick enough to block out the sun. Highways cutting through farmland, stretching farther than headlights can reach. But ordinary isn't safe. Trucks are found still running with no drive headlights can reach.
Oh, that's a creek, not a dead
But
road.
ordinary isn't safe. Trucks are found still
I
running
wish my trails
farther
look like this.
than headlights can reach. But ordinary isn't safe. Trucks are found still running with no driver inside. Hunters vanish without a sound. Their rifles left behind. Houses catch fire without burning. And entire families disappear from the road as if the asphalt opened.
She's got some long ones. I ought to be able to vote myself a poor sport bitch. I fucked him out of his victory. Why? Because I could. God damn it. I felt like being a poor sport bitch. You suck my dick, bitch.
Sorrow, let it all fade away. Forget tomorrow.
God damn it. Suck my fucking dick. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Suck my motherfucking dick. With pit. Yeah, look at that long ball. With pits. There goes my fucking castle. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. God damn Now fuck up and overlook this. Dumbass.
Have you noticed that absolutely every religious apologetics meme is a lie?
More and more.
Have you noticed that absolutely every religious apologetics meme is a lie, being at least a fundamental misunderstanding and or projection? Take this one, for example. Atheism, the belief that matter magically became aware. And first off, atheism is not a belief. It's a lack of belief, not belief in a lack. It is the state of being unconvinced of the unsupported assertions of gods. Self-described believers cannot comprehend not believing, so they have to frame everything, even doubt, in terms of belief. If you don't believe it's true, then you must believe it's false. That's the limit of their binary thinking. And second, atheism is not evolution, which is not a belief either. We can show that it's true and thus know that it's true. We don't have to believe in it. We can test it. And third, we atheists are not the ones who believe that matter became aware magically. And generally speaking, we don't believe in magic like religious people do. Some might try to deny that, but if you believe in blessings and curses and miracles, then you believe in magic. And finally, we're not the ones who believe we came from a rock, either. There are textbooks that say that the Earth was once a molten ball of rock, and then the next paragraph will usually talk about how other chemicals rained down from space. Chemicals that would not generally be considered rocks even if they were frozen solid. Some people don't bother to read that next paragraph, but we know that life formed in and from liquid, not rock. Creationists are the ones who believe that their God brought dirt, literal rocks, to life using a golem spell in the fable where their God literally made rocks become aware magically. So this meme is not talking about atheism nor evolution in any sense either. This is yet another example of religious fundamentalists describing themselves, but projecting all their own faults onto others who will not share those faults with them. Because creationism is just liars lying, and that's it, and that's all. Yet I continue trying to reason with the unreasonable on social media in the apparently futile hope that one of them might eventually argue in good faith if they are sincere in their beliefs. Because it happened once, 20 years ago now, but it might happen again. I mean, I do regularly get messages from former believers thanking me for helping them reason their way out of delusion, so that happens often enough to keep me going. But what almost never happens is when the deluded honestly admits or corrects a mistake during our discussion. It has happened sometimes that even the people I debated with deconvert later, but usually only after months of uncomfortable reflection. This week's cognitively stunted runt posted this meme. And they said that it takes a lot of blind faith to not believe what we do not believe, which is just more projection. They know that they're the ones who believe on blind faith, and they know how dishonest that is, and that it's indefensible, too. So they project all their own faults on us, and accuse us of whatever they're doing, arguing as if we are them and they are us. In this particular twit, and I got to talking about this meme, debating it, and they promised to be honest, but of course they resumed lying immediately and continuously thereafter, pretending as if evolution cannot be tested and that radiometric dating was in this particular twit, and I got to talking about this meme, debating it, and they promised to be honest, but of course they resumed lying immediately and continuously thereafter, pretending as if evolution cannot be tested and that radiometric dating was unreliable, the usual reality denial. And this one said that evidence of evolution was deceptive, which is ironic coming from a creationist where deception is their whole game. Their belief system is based entirely on lies and nonsense with not one word of truth to it whatsoever. Nothing we can objectively show to be true, just empty assertions of impossible absurdity, frauds, falsehoods, and fallacies. That's all creationism is. So when they say that science is deceptive, they're projecting again. And this twit agreed to take my challenge to prove evolution, but they failed at the start of the first round, like creationists typically do. Not just because they lied constantly and habitually refused to answer any direct questions, no matter how often repeated, but also because they refused to accept the actual definition of evolution used by all secular science education sources. Creationists always reject the real definition because they know they can only argue a straw man rather than what evolution really is. This twit even refused to use scientific jargon, insisting instead on using creationist science terms, which is not only an oxymoron because there's no such thing as creation science, but it literally means talking nonsense, deliberately misusing every term for the purpose of equivocation, distortion, and moving the goalposts. They use the same words that scientists do, but with entirely different, deliberately distorted meanings, which they will not define and cannot defend, and they will never accept corrected definitions either. This is a deliberate strategy. In my first moderated debate against a creationist, I wanted to first post definitions of the terms being used so that we don't talk past each other. But that is precisely what my opponent wanted to do. So he refused, saying that these terms should remain undefined so that the audience can decide for themselves what they think these words should mean. What better admission of the intended deception, right? Because you know that you're going to apply a different meaning, a hidden meaning to all of these terms, that one that doesn't match the science at all, but only matches anti-science propaganda that your audience has only ever heard from religious apologists, not from any secular science classroom. I also challenged this twit to show anything that was both factually accurate and supportive of creationism, another challenge unanswered in forever. But of course they had to dodge that challenge too, with more lies, ironically, like a lot of lies. Because when your position is based on make-believe, then you can't let any reality in. You gotta stuff your mind with falsehoods. So we went to the phylogeny challenge, where I challenged believers to justify their claims of created kinds. And that challenge, too, remains unanswered since 2011. But on this topic, the twit said something interesting, an argument that I don't think I've ever heard before. I asked them to define what a kind is, but they wouldn't do that either. Creationists refused to use consistent definitions that could be immediately disproved. No, they have to remain as vague as a horoscope. So sticking with that tactic of deliberately dishonest distortion, the twit instead gave an example instead of a definition. They said that elephants are one kind and honey badgers are another. That still doesn't tell us what a kind is, does it? Does it mean mammal? And while there are 3 species of elephants alive today and several more in the fossil record, there's only 1 species of honey badger. So why even bring that up for comparison? The twit's reasoning was that a honey badger cannot give birth to an elephant.
God damn it. God fucking damn it.
So the Regiotherian mammal in the clade Boreoeutheria cannot produce an Afrotherian mammal within the clade Atlantogenata, an entirely different lineage.
God fucking
about as far apart as it is possible for placental mammals to be. Does that in any way explain what a kind is? Of course not. Especially when you remember that an Asian elephant cannot produce an African bush elephant, nor a forest elephant either. Even after that was explained to them, the twit still wouldn't provide a definition. They just gave more examples that don't work. They said that fish is one kind and dogs were another. And that they each were created according to their kinds. Empty assertions that we're just supposed to believe without question, reservation, or reason, just because some ignorant idiot said so. The twit also said that there were 400,000 different kinds of bugs. What do they mean by bugs? Are they talking about all arthropods collectively, or perhaps microbes? Usually, the word bug only applies to insects. But even then, the twit is ignoring the fact that there are over a million species of insects, and not just 400,000. And they, like all other animals, fall into a taxonomic scheme where every phylum contains multiple orders, every order divides into multiple families, and every family has multiple genera, and every genus contains multiple species, whether extant or extinct. It's become much more detailed now than the old Linnaean construct of only 7 different grades, but that only makes the problem for the creationists even worse. And this applies to insects along with everything else. And again, it completely negates the notion of kinds. And since the make-believers refuse to explain their position, allow me to help out where the creationists never will. There are 2 definitions creationists use and confuse for kinds, and they conflate the 2, using both at the same time, which is equivocation since the 2 definitions contradict each other. The first definition is based on the Hebrew word min, and it assumes that if any two animals can interbreed to produce fertile offspring to bring forth after their kind, then they are the same kind. And this definition is identical to the biological species concept, such that species equals kind. And the only difference being that while new species can and do evolve from other species, creationists pretend as if God created each original species/kind miraculously, meaning magically. Thus, by this definition, macroevolution is impossible because new species can only come about as an act of special creation by God. And once a kind or species is created, all they can do after that is diversify into new breeds or variation within kinds, within species. They can't produce new kinds, meaning no new species. However, modern creationists realize two significant problems with that. One is that speciation has been directly observed and documented so many times in different ways that even creationists can't deny that anymore. And we don't need God to create new species. We know that species can originate by natural selection, just like Darwin said in the title of his book. And two, even if we ignore all the fossil forms, which now outnumber modern genera, there is still no way that all of the current species alive today could possibly fit onto that mythical Noah's Ark. So the fundamentalists had to come up with a new excuse, some way that relatively few created kinds were on the Ark, and that after the mythic flood, then those original archetypes would proliferate into myriad new species or genera, or in some cases even new taxonomic families, so that a few hundred pairs of original archetypes could evolve into millions of species. Thus, the make-believers came up with a new definition of kinds, one that allows for speciation, not just macroevolution, but extra, super magnified mega-evolution at hyperspeed, where tens of millions of years of evolution is accomplished in just a couple of centuries, at most. So that, for example, if cats were all one kind, like this twit letter said, then there would be one pair of cats on the Ark, and from them were derived every species of cats, from lions and leopards to house cats and lynxes and all of that, and they had to evolve immediately, because all these different types of cats show up in ancient depictions from even the earliest art forms. And a lot of them are fossil forms earlier than any art. So one pair of cats to several dozen species, all of them emerging instantly, within a couple of decades. And by this definition, a kind is more like a clade. And a clade is a taxonomic category of many related species, including all the descendants of a common ancestor. Daughter clades descend from parent clades, like Russian nesting dolls, if each doll contained at least two smaller dolls inside it, where over time, one original form diversifies into two, and then many generations later, those two become four, and then those four eventually become 8, and 16, and so on, except for the ones that eventually go extinct, with each surviving group being increasingly distinct from their ancestors or cousins. And the only difference between a clade and a kind is that where the clade of all animals and the clade of all plants are both daughters of the same parent clade, the eukarya, that's all life that has nucleic cells, the notion of kinds changes the giant tree of life into an orchard of small shrubs that were magically created separately, unrelated to anything else. So each original created kind can be the common ancestor of many different subsets evolving into daughter clades, just like evolution teaches. That is exactly evolution. That's even macroevolution, since it allows for the origin of new species, just like Darwin said.
God damn it.
But if you call it a kind, then there is an implied limit that no one can identify.
God damn
Famous
it.
biologists like Kent Ham and Kent Hovind have argued that by this definition, every member of the genus Canis would still be the same kind, and every genus of elephants would still be the same kind, even if they can no longer interbreed. The clade kind definition has been interpreted to allow for kinds within kinds, or kinds of kinds, just like what the Bible says about different kinds of birds, birds of all sorts. However, there are significant problems with that definition too. Instead of a single bird kind, where every type of bird descends from one original bird, or one pair of birds if you like, God made many different kinds of birds. The Bible specifically talks about different species within a genus, like different kinds of corvids or hawks, where it clearly specifies species as kinds, not a genus or a family like creationists like to pretend. Another problem is what the Bible said earlier about being able to bring forth after their kind. though that is only a problem if you interpret bring forth to mean two organisms interbreeding, which is not specified. So you can interpret it to allow that all dogs are the same kind, or you can quibble over the fact that domestic dogs cannot interbreed with some wild dogs, even though they look so much alike. The biggest problem with this definition, and with both definitions really, is that there is no evidence at all for any original archetype, and all of the relevant facts align against it. In the species-kind definition, you couldn't have two or more genetically isolated species in the same genus, nor different genera in the same family, like where we have gorillas, orangutans, and chimpanzees, each of them multiple species in their own genus, and all of them in the ape family along with humans. And including humans, that isn't the problem. It's every other genus that everyone already accepts as separate genera that are all part of the ape family. If species equals kinds, then that can't be, but we know it is. There are many unambiguous examples that contradict the notion of species kinds. The clade kind definition seems a safer bet, but once you get into paleontology or phylogenetics, then you have the same problem, just pushed back a bit. Now you can accept all the other great apes as apes, but you still have to come up with an arbitrary exclusion for humans. And even if you propose that great apes are a kind, there's still a subset of apes in general. If all apes, except for humans arbitrarily, are one kind, then there's still a subset of old world monkeys, Catarrhini, with plenty of genetic proof of that relationship, on top of a suite of intermediary forms in the fossil record.
Man, she smells like spit.
So,
Hi, man. How's it going? Oh, whew. Oh, wow. All right.
Man, she's got some long arms.
I got you for speeding. I got you at 64. And you want to lower that? All right, I got you at 60, 64, and 45.
Oh, it's 45? I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
Alright, so that's why I pulled you over, but as soon as you rolled down the window, what were you smoking there?
So I have a really severe back injury and I just missed all things, so I'm just trying to get home, honestly.
Okay, but...
I know, I have no excuse, but I can do any type of sobriety test right now and I can literally be fine, I swear to God.
No, I just want to know what you smoked or what you...
Syrup SPITTT.
Really want to incriminate myself?
Yeah, because I smell marijuana.
Okay.
It's not like incriminating yourself or anything like that, it's more like, I'm just curious as to what you smoke, you know what I mean?
What you smell is what you smell. I'm not admitting to anything.
Alright, well, let's start with your driver's license. You got any weapons in the car?
No weapons, just a golf. Just a golf. I swear to God. If you need me to do a sobriety test, I'm so...
Why wouldn't you do a sobriety test? Well, you're the one that said it.
For you, a piece of
I'm just
money.
curious as to what,
Syrup SPITTT.
You said you're coming from a golf tournament?
I was playing golf at Apogee.
Oh, okay. Do you have anything to drink at the golf tournament at all?
Like earlier around noon, but I haven't.
You said earlier around noon? Or what was it, like wine, beer? Prosecco? Alright. You want to just give me your registration? I just need your insurance.
Everything is...
You already gave me your... Or that's the newer one. That's the newer one, yeah.
My insurance, I did not print it out, but I have it here. Like, everything is super clean. You won't see anything.
You roll down the other window, because it's super... Your tints are a little dark.
This is literally what the dealership gave to me. I never did any illegal tinting or anything like that.
So, a couple things here, alright?
Yes.
First thing with the marijuana that I smelled, alright? Do you have any prescription or any?
It ran out.
Okay, so you don't have anything current. You have like a medical marijuana card, nothing like that.
I did. It just
Alright, but right now, so it's expired as of right now.
Yeah, as of right now. But I have a doctor's note. I have a handicap that just expired.
Alright, yeah, it's fine. You just keep your hands here. So you're good. Alright. What about? Fine. You just keep.
Does she have a spit effect
I
on?
have a handicap that just expired.
Yeah, it's fine. You just keep your hands here. So you're good. Alright. What I have you do, alright, is just keep everything inside. Don't grab your phone or anything like that. I'll have you step out. Alright? And we're gonna go from there, alright?
Oh, you're gonna arrest me.
No, who said I'm gonna arrest you? Come on out.
Wait,
I'm just gonna check you out because you said I gotta do a sobriety test, so I'll just check your eyes out, make sure you're good, and then we'll go from there. Just come right here. Alright. Come right here now. Alright. So
Does
just
she
bring
have
your feet
spit
together.
smell on?
Alright.
Yes. Pit. No.
Come right here now.
Her sleeves are not rolled
So
up.
just bring your feet together,
Rolled up.
hands to your side, put your glasses on top of your forehead. There you go. Alright, so a couple questions real quick before I even ask you to do anything. So do you have any trouble balancing, any problems with your eyes? Do you have to wear contacts?
I just wear these glasses.
Oh.
Would you like a girl spit? She spit. Spit, spit, spit. Now fuck up and overlook this right here. Should begin.
People wanna look at the future, don't wanna linger on the past, just wanna reach to real side. Forget the guts and rejection, leave the things that separate. There are just that we must stand on. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. So together we can be one
Just it open the same door. Open the same door.
Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. So we can be one together. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. So we can be one together. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. So we can be one together. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well.
up and take that bishop. Stupid! Sucker. You fell for that like a sack of tons of bricks of shit. Sucker. Dumbass. Ah! Kiss that whore goodbye. Dumbass. Dumbass. Slut that slut. Oh, are you butthurt? Oh, have you got a ring of fire on your ass from where I fucked it? Sucker. Sucker. You stupid bitch. Now if I can just free these fucking pieces so I can get that king out of here. Free these let's get these fucking pieces out of here. God damn it. Oh, fucking Christ. 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 Fucking goddamn Christ. Fucking Christ. Fucking goddamn Christ. Fucking Christ. Fucking goddamn Christ. Fucking 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 Christ. God damn it. Fucking Christ. Fucking Christ. Fucking Christ. Fucking Christ. Fucking Christ or fuck. It's time the Jenna has Uzi arms the motherfucker. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. with oozy spit. God damn it. God damn it. Yeah. No. Now fuck up and move right here. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. Dumbass. I just dicked up the phone. Hell no, I'm not gonna offer you a draw. I'm gonna kick your ass. Just let that slut. March! Kiss that, you self-combined slut. Spit, 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 spit. Spit, 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 spit. Spit? Dumbass. Yeah.
Do you think they're going or not?
I do. I do.
You better get ready.
Okay. March! I fuck his hole!